אני לפניך מודה, אני לפניך מודה, אני לפניך מודה, אני לפניך. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. Mohoda, ani lefanecha. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. My heart is restless till it rests in you. Mohoda ani lefanecha. Mohoda ani lefanecha. Mohoda ani lefanecha. Mohoda ani lefanecha. So hello, KZOOMers.
Hey.
Just take a moment just to look around the KZOOM,
And may
the
we say
KZOOM room.
Happy St. Patty's Day and Hag Purim. Little convergence.
There's a great convergence, yeah. And hey, everybody, we're at the beach. We're looking out beyond your faces to the ocean,
Yeah.
right there.
Really wonderful. We're so grateful.
So it might not be as quiet as New Mexico. There might be
Some noisy
some
bird
green
walking.
hamantashen, right? Yeah, every once in a while some boom boxes come by.
Very loud.
But I wanted to begin. Well, that was the modani of the day. And first of all, I want to ask Praladin: Are you in Sweden? Or are you in the States? Are you in Sweden, like from another in the middle of the night there? Anyway, you could put your thumb up or down. That's okay.
Hello.
Oh, yay. All right.
I said, where
buddy.
are you?
I'm back in America for a few months.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay, good to see you.
Great to see you.
So I wanted to. That's the modani of the day, but it just felt like a really. It's a quote from Saint Augustine, and it points to me. It points towards a state of consciousness, a state of mind that I think is really important, and our love at the center practice also points to the same place. That and that it is my restlessness, my restless heart, that needs to calm before I can find this place of love in me, the deep, deep place of love, and our love at the center practice, that which it is sort of describes this place, this state of being in love, because from that place of love we look at our world and we say, you are all beautiful, there's nothing wrong. And that's a particular state.
It's pretty radical.
And what it points to is a kind of a larger goodness in which the good and the bad play, the hard and the difficult and the easy and the all of the dualities inside it. But in the state of love, we kind of expand to embrace this field of unity, of this ultimate goodness, and so we get glimpses of it, and then it becomes a wonderful kind of a compass point to be able to see in that way, to see each other in that way, and also to imagine that God is saying this to us. There's nothing wrong with you. You are unfolding. You are in process. I have total trust in that process of unfolding. And so instead of feeling a kind of regret or shame about places in us that don't seem so perfect yet, God is seeing that perfection that is in potential, that is unfolding in us. And Rumi says that to find the beloved, you must become the beloved. And so that sense of becoming the beloved is being able to receive that that kind of communication from the universe that says there's nothing wrong. There is a rightness that is unfolding through you, between you. And even when it seems like things in the world feel really wrong and feel awful, to at the same time say that there is a oneness that holds it. There is a beauty to it all. And we have to develop the eyes to see that. And the way that we do that is through this state of consciousness that we call being in love. So I want to do this first practice that I call perfect. And you can do it with a kind of a sense of like moving towards that state, aiming ourselves towards the state of being in love, and also to be able to receive the communication from that oneness that says there's nothing wrong with you. You are perfect. You are my beloved. And stepping into that belovedness.
All is well.
All is well. All is well.
No matter how it seems.
Beyond the seeming difficulties of the world. And this is not spiritual bypass. It's sort of expanding to embrace all of it.
Yeah.
And when I just want to say that when I first created this chant, I was upstairs and Rachmel was downstairs, and I ran downstairs, and
You're perfect. You're just perfect.
I started chanting.
Just the way you are.
I chanting this to Rachmel.
So cool. Thanks. Yeah.
And it just felt so true. It doesn't always feel so true, but it felt so true in that moment. Kulach, yafa, rayati. Kulach, yafa, rayati. Bach. Kulach, yafa, rayati. 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 Kulach, yafa, rayati.
Kulach yafa rayati. Kulach yafa rayati. Kulach yafa rayati. Kulach yafa rayati. Kulach yafa rayati. Kulach yafa rayati. Once more, our love song to the world. Kulach yafa rayati. Kulach yafa rayati. Kulach yafa rayati. So we need to sing this love song to the world in order to get in touch with that force that is moving through us. And also we need to receive that love song so that we can kind of relax, step into that place of the beloved. So I was remembering today a teaching that I received kind of from Spirit a couple years ago, which now feels all the more relevant, and to answer the question of how do we hold all of the suffering in the world? How do we stay connected through it? How do we, not go into a fear response? And the guidance came to me in 3 parts. It was a 3-part process, and it was the first part had to do with enlarging the context, that whatever was going on in my life or in the world, there was always a bigger picture that I needed to be able to place it inside of a larger context. Otherwise, it would be overwhelming. So the first part of the guidance was enlarge or expand the context of whatever it is. And the second was use whatever it is to grow in compassion. It's kind of one of the core reasons why we're here, is to learn how to grow our compassion. And when we're in the presence of suffering, we can either freak out or we can use it to say, okay, I'm going to grow in compassion, and kind of like raise that love up into my high heart, being able to find that priestly function of energetic healing that I can embody. And then the third part of the guidance was do what needs to be done. It means come out of paralysis. If there's something in front of you to do, even if it's small, do what needs to be done. And for some, that was having those three things. They all fit together somehow, in expanding the context, growing compassion, doing what needs to be done. It felt like it came to me at a time when I was kind of at a loss, and I feel like in these last couple years of keeping those three interlocking instructions with me has been really important. And part of what I'm feeling a need is to be able to hold it all, both the misery and the joy, to not push one of them away, to get large enough to hold it all. So, which takes, a practice that I want to do that's called resilience. And it is from Psalm 138, and it felt to me like it was a formula for cultivating resilience. And it says im aylech bekerev tzarah, and which is a kind of a description of what our world is, that we're walking through this tzarah, this this difficult thing that's happening in the world of war. And even when I'm walking through that difficult place, tichayeni, there is a kind of a channel of life force that is also pouring in to me, into the world, maybe taking the form of courage or resilience or strength or vision, that at the very same moment that I'm walking through that tzarah, tichayeni, you are giving me life. And that word tichayeni, I like to look at that word. It's to see chai is in the middle of it, life. In the beginning of it, it says you, and the end of it says ni, me. So it really means you life me. You life me. You give me life, and I need every ounce of that life force in order to walk through whatever we need to walk through without being defeated by it, without being discouraged, and so there is a great force that is pouring in, that I want to open to right in the midst of whatever it is I'm feeling. So I want to feel my feelings and make room inside those feelings for this life force to pour in. So I invite you to call forth exactly the feelings that you've been feeling about the world, and in the midst of those feelings to kind of create a space that when we say tichayeni, allow this light, this life to pour in right inside it, opening up a kind of a spaciousness to be able to hold it all. b'kerem tzarah. B'kerem tzarah. B'kerem tzarah. T'chayeni. B'kerem Even though we're walking through trouble, and sometimes it feels overwhelming. Right in the midst of it, God is giving us life. Becoming receptive and spacious, opening to that life force.
You focus on the breath, breathing in that life force, letting it open you, strengthen you, letting it give you a sense of spaciousness. So as our relationship with the great mystery becomes one of beloved, that as we become the beloved, and when we hear that voice that is calling us beloved, there is this new covenant that is kind of put inside us out of that relationship of lover and beloved, that it becomes, it is internalized, so that we can live from that place of being the beloved. I wanted to bring you this teaching from Henri Nouwen. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but
French.
It's French, yes. He says, prayer, then, is listening to that voice, to the one who calls you the beloved. It is to constantly go back to the truth of who we are and claim it for ourselves. I'm not what I do. I'm not what people say about me. I'm not what I have. Although there is nothing wrong with success, there's nothing wrong with popularity, there's nothing wrong with being powerful. Finally, my spiritual identity is not rooted in the world, the things the world gives me. My life is rooted in my spiritual identity. Whatever we do, we have to go back regularly to that place of core identity. So, and for me, it means having an inner life and practices that remind me of that place of the beloved in me. And so the prophet Jeremiah says, I will put my Torah into their inmost being and inscribe it upon their hearts. So that's the Torah that I want to keep referring to, which is the place of my core identity, that it's written in my heart. It's right there. And it feels as though in order to kind of step up to the challenges of being in this world, and having our hearts break, we absolutely need to kind of read that Torah that is inscribed in our hearts, and that is the Torah of love. That is the Torah that says you are beloved, and that is our core identity. And from there, it feels like we can aylech bekerav tzarah. We can walk through whatever tzarahs that life gives us, and be fueled, be inspired, be encouraged with every breath. So let's see if we can, read that. So take a moment just to look into your own heart, and imagine there inscribed in your heart this kind of place of the beloved that is waiting to be. I think it has to go this way. Yeah. There it is. And here, it was there all along.
Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. Natati, et-Torati b'kirba. V'yaliba echtavenah. V'yaliba echtavenah.
you to look into your heart and to imagine what is inscribed in your heart. What is inscribed there? What is the message that God writes on your heart? And if you feel like writing it in the chat, if you get something, do not despair. Oops. Can you read it out loud, honey?
Just a sec. Let me, go away. There we go. To give love. Wendy, I love you. I love you too, Wendy. Just to love.
Just to love. Yeah. Give love. Just to love.
You are peace and radiant love. Shema, Susan. I am a child of love. Love. Your love complete and whole. It's true.
Good.
God is all that is. That's true too.
So those messages are inscribed in our hearts. It's just being able to go to and read them.
I'm
right
here with you, accompanying you. Let go of doubt and fear. You are loved. Love can flow through you. You are radiance and love. Just open to it. You are a giver of joy. Ooh, let's all remember that. Be givers of joy.
And don't give up.
And don't give up.
Yeah. So we have to remind ourselves and each other to go and read that Torah that is in our hearts, inscribed there. And so there's one more practice that I wanted to do, which is another kind of intimacy with God, and it is called the Divine Mikveh. And there's different way. This idea of God as beloved, being in this like primal relationship with the beloved, loving and being loved. I had this experience. It was on my 60th birthday. Oh, maybe Judy was there. I went to this hot springs in New Mexico, and I chanted in the hot springs, and I chanted this line again from Jeremiah. And the words are usually they're Mikvay Yisroayl, and then Yud He Vav He, and the kind of normal translation of it is God is the hope of Israel, because that word Mikvay can mean hope, but it can also be the mikvah, what you soak yourself in, what you're in, it's, and so the Hasidim translate this line as God is a mikvah for Israel, for us, and I use that unpronounceable name of God, the Yud He Vav He. I'm gonna enunciate it as Havayah, which is the being itself. So God being itself, existence, is our mikvah, and the mikvah is what we soak ourselves in, what we surround ourselves in. God is so ubiquitous that we don't even notice sometimes. Another teaching from Henri Nouwen says, worship, to me, is constantly saying yes to God's love. I guess leaning back into that mikvah, to say, Lord, I love you too, because you're beautiful and you're great. I love you too. That signals a change of heart. The moment we call, worship, are basically nothing else but moments in which we remind ourselves what our lives are about. Moments in which we articulate in a particular way the essence of our existence. So that this feels like, to say God is my mikvah is a kind of saying that is the essence of my existence. I am floating in God. I am soaking in God. I am allowing it to that awareness to purify me, so that I can become self-realized and cleansed and sent. So these words became really an important kind of way of understanding my relationship with God as not just other, but actually what I'm in, and that the currents of life that, looking out at the ocean now.
So we're like a fish in the ocean. God's the ocean.
Yes, we are in that ocean, in that the essence of our existence is that we are in God, and we are buoyant. Really, I love that sense of buoyancy when I can rest in God. So when my heart is restless, until I rest in God. And when I do that, I am buoyed up. I am lifted. I am sent on the currents of my life. So I wanted to end with this practice, and it's a 2-part round. There's another part if somebody else knows the other part of it to do it, but we'll do these 2 parts, and really feel it as we're doing it. Feel yourself floating in that divine existence. Feel yourself lifted by it. Mikvay Yisroayl, Havayah, 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 Mikvay Yisroayl, Havayah.
Mikvay Yisroayl, Havayah, 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 Mikvay Yisroayl,
So we come kind of full circle to say my heart is restless till it rests in you. And you are my mikvah. You're what I soak in. That divine existence that we're in. And to me, when I can calm my heart, then I can deal with whatever this world throws at me. And if my heart is not calm, then whatever is going on in the world is just gonna overwhelm me. It's gonna send me into a place of panic or imbalance. So
the only thing we have control over is our inner state of how we respond to what life gives us. And thank God we have each other to remind us to read the Torah that is inscribed in our hearts. Because without that reminder, so I want to just take a look around the KZOOM room to say, like, here we are, here for each other.
Yeah.
And
Hey. Hey. Oh, wow. Such beloveds.
yeah, here to remind each other to lean back into the waters, that we will be held, we will be buoyed up by them. So so I want to just remind you to take a look at the website, give a little donation, and look and see if there's any retreats that are might be calling you.
There are
Doing
several
some
up
retreats
ahead,
coming
yeah.
up that so far I don't know if people are signing up for, but they're going to be exciting to get together and be in person. Maybe some of the people. So I want to thank you so much. I've been chanting on the beach in preparation for being with you, and which is just heaven. Just heaven.
Yeah, it is. Hearing the sound of the
so-
ocean.
Any.
So if you can stay, that'd be